Hello, in this video we'll discuss Unit 4, Activity 2, and this activity is entitled Methods of Proof. And what we're going to do in this activity is we're going to try to explain how to support and defend your opinions, and then also how to use research to back yourself up. And so if we take a look at the Minds On section, we have a brief introduction to the topic that we're going to focus on in this activity. And it says, when developing and supporting an opinion, it's helpful to consider both sides of an issue. That way you develop an informed opinion and can anticipate counter-arguments which will strengthen your position. In this activity, you will read two articles expressing opposing viewpoints on a topic. Then you will consider where you stand on that issue. And the topic that we're going to focus on is in bold right here. And it says, do cell phones and other mobile devices have a positive or negative effect on our relationships with each other? And that is a very debatable topic. Some people think that cell phones have been a magical invention that that's brought us closer together with other people and connected us with people around the world. And there are other people that think that cell phones are tearing us apart and that are hurting our personal relationships because we don't spend as much time face-to-face and talking to people in person anymore. So I guess the beauty of this question is that it's debatable, and that's what we want for this unit, is because you have to give your opinion on the topics that we're looking at. So if we continue on, keep that question in mind because we're going to come back to it. If we continue on, we're going to talk about something called methods of proof. And this is a very important topic. It's one of the most important parts of Unit 4. And it says, an opinion is only as good as its supporting evidence. So if you can't back up your opinion, you don't have a very good opinion, again, is the argument. And so what we're going to look at is we're going to look at a number of different ways that you can back up or support an opinion. You can use historical references, you can use comparisons, personal observations or personal experiences, you can use logic and reason, quotations, authoritative reference, so that would be using expert opinion, so someone who's an expert in the field that you're talking about, they're referencing them would be a good way to support yourself. You can use facts, you can use analogies, and you can use emotion to back yourself up. And to support your opinion. So what I'd like you to do is click on all of these different methods of proof, read through the explanation and the example. It's going to be very important for the last two assignments that you do this semester that you understand these methods of proof and that you can incorporate them into your own writing. Okay? If we continue on, we're going to go back to that cell phone debate that we talked about at the beginning. And you're going to be presented with two different arguments. Two different articles that present two different arguments. And so the first article is called Point, Mobile Devices Can Harm Personal Relationships. So if you click Point right here, an article will open and it will argue that mobile devices or cell phones hurt our personal relationships. Meanwhile, the second article you're going to read, Counterpoint, is going to argue that mobile devices keep us all connected and is going to argue that they're a positive in our lives. So what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to read both articles. So again, here's the Point article, and you can just go through and read it. Right? And then we've got our Counterpoint article. And so again, read through both carefully. Okay? And then what you're going to be asked to do is you're going to be asked to reread both articles, or I guess if you want to, you can do this the first time you read the articles. But it says reread both Point and Counterpoint articles, and this time identify the main idea and three supporting details for each article. Use the following organizer to record your ideas. And so if we download that, it looks like this. And so what you're going to do is you're going to identify the main idea in the Point, Mobile Devices Can Harm Personal Relationships article. And then you're going to identify the main idea in the Counterpoint article. And you'll find that they both have different opinions on the same topic. And then you'll also find supporting details, at least three, in each article that support their main idea. You're eventually going to have to write your own paragraph assignment where you're going to pick one of these two sides and you're going to argue why you think cell phones either positively or negatively impact our relationships. So you're going to use one of these articles as your evidence. So it's important that you fill this organizer in because it will come back later and help on your assignment. All right, if we continue on, there's a couple more things we have to look at before we actually get to the assignment. And the first thing here is considering audience, purpose, and content. And so I'd like you to take a look at the importance of audience, purpose, and content. It's really important to know who you're writing to when you write something. The audience often dictates the style and the content of your writing. So it's important to identify who you're writing to. The purpose. It's very important to understand the purpose of your writing. What is the goal? What do you hope to convince people to do, or what do you hope that people will learn from reading your writing? So the purpose is important. And then, of course, the content. What are you writing about, and what is your opinion is obviously important. But you always want to think about these three ideas before you write something. What is your audience? What is your purpose? And what is your content going to be? All right. With that said, the assignment that you're going to have to do in this activity and in the next activity that we do following this, in both, you're going to have to include citations and references. And so I'd like you to read through this carefully. We've already talked a little bit about how to cite something, about putting the author's last name and a page number if you have it when you cite a source inside your writing. We've done that in the summaries that we wrote, for example, in Unit 2. If you don't have an author's name or a page number, you can just put the title of what you're citing. So, for example, if I take a quotation from the point article, if I go back up here and take a citation from this point article, I would put it into my writing like this. I would put quotations, and I would put the sentence that I'm taking, end quotation, and then I would put the title of the article, because there is no author and there is no page number you'll see in the article. And then I'd put a period at the end, and then I would just continue on in my own words in my paragraph or whatever it is I'm writing. So you'd put this right inside your own writing assignment. That's how you'd use a quotation and a citation. All right. What you also have to do, and this is again something that we did in Unit 2 when we did summaries, is put in references. And so you have to write out a reference for whatever it is that you've taken quotations and citations from. And so, for example, this is how you'd write the reference for the point article. And it wasn't hard for me to write that out, because if we actually go back to the two articles here, they provide you with the reference at the bottom of the page. They've written it for you. And so if we look at the counter argument, you'll see at the bottom here, again, they've provided the reference for you. In your assignment that we're going to get to here in a second, you're going to have to quote and cite and reference one of these two articles. So again, it's already pretty much done for you, but you have to show me that you can take it and put it into your assignment. Okay? So if we continue on, we come to our assignment in the consolidation, and it's cell phone opinion paragraph. And it says, based on the readings in this activity and your own personal views, your own personal opinions, answer the following question. Do cell phones and other mobile devices hurt our personal relationships or bring us closer together? You can't argue both sides, as you'll see. You have to stick to one side. So you might think, well, there's some positives and some negatives to cell phones. They can help our relationships and they can hurt our relationships. But overall, what is your opinion if you had to pick one side? Okay? And then what you're going to do is you're going to write a paragraph supporting your opinion. And your paragraph should meet the following requirements. And so you'll see here, You have to establish your opinion. So in the first sentence, in your topic sentence, you should clearly establish your opinion on the topic. You should stick, as we said, to one side. Don't try to argue both sides in your paragraph. And you should summarize your opinion in the conclusion, in your last sentence. Right? So that's establishing your opinion. Then you have to support your opinion. So in the middle, in the body sentences, you have to provide at least 3 supporting reasons supporting your opinion. You have to back up each of your reasons with a specific example. You have to include at least one direct quotation from one of the articles in this activity. So either the point or the counterpoint article, whichever one fits your argument, you're going to have to include at least one quotation from it. Okay? And you're going to have to use 3 different methods of proof. So using a quotation is actually one of the methods. So I'm forcing you to use that one. But then you're going to have to use at least 2 other methods of proof when you back yourself up in the body sentences. So if you go back up here and we look at our methods of proof, you can use personal observations, you can use logic and reason, you can use facts, you can use an emotional appeal, whichever 2 you think fit. Again, I'm forcing you to use a quotation, but at least 2 other methods of proof need to be used when you're supporting your argument. Okay? And finally, you have to use a citation and a reference. So whenever you use a quotation in your paragraph, you need to include an in-text citation afterwards. So like we showed you right here, you're going to put a quotation from the point article. This is what it would look like. You put the quotation in, and then you put the title of the article in parentheses. And then you're going to have to include a full reference for the article after your paragraph. And again, you can see what the point article looks like right here. This is the reference already written out for you, and you can just put that at the ending of your paragraph. If you're going to use the counterpoint article, then you can get the reference again from the bottom of this article right here. So again, we can just go down here and we can take it from right here. So that's the requirements of your assignment. There is a little organizer here that you can use to help you plan your paragraph. So if I open that up, it looks like this. So you can use this as your rough work. So you can establish a topic sentence stating your opinion. You can include one supporting detail, right? Think about the method of proof that you're going to use to support that detail. A second supporting detail or a second reason. And then think about the method of proof that you would use to support that. And then think about a third supporting reason and the method of proof that you would use. And then finally, you would conclude with a concluding statement restating your opinion. So you would probably end up with at least 8 to 10 sentences here. You've got your topic sentence, your concluding sentence, and you're going to have at least 6 sentences. So a supporting reason and an example or something proving it, and a second supporting reason and an example proving it, a third supporting reason and an example proving it. So at least 8 sentences. You might need 10 to 12 sentences to fully explain yourself. But you can use this as your rough work. What I would also suggest is consider sharing with me your rough draft of the paragraph. There is no first draft for this paragraph. You don't have to show it to me and get my feedback first. You can just submit it to be graded right here. But I would suggest emailing me a rough copy, and I will give you some feedback to make sure you're on the right track before you submit your completed paragraph. And finally, do look at the rubric before you submit your final paragraph. And the rubric looks like this, and this will just show you how I will grade your paragraph. If you have any questions, please let me know.